So what's the latest in your world and what's happening with the coins? I guess you've got some news. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff to share, but the most exciting thing I have right now to share is that we finally decided on a new coin. And I don't take that lightly. We spent a lot of time researching and finding them, so I'm really happy to finally publicly announce that we are going to be mining a new coin.
All right. Okay, so what is this coin called? And tell me more about it.
It's called STIPEND, S-T-I-P-E-N-D. And if you go to stipend.me, .me, you can find out more about it. But the ticker symbol is STD and SPD, sorry. And I'm just really excited about it. It's, you choose a coin wisely and you spend a lot of time, researching it and looking at the fundamentals and the technicals. And so it wasn't an easy decision, but it became glaringly obvious after.
Sorry, so I'm going to interrupt you quickly, and just to get some more of an idea of how this goes, because there's a lot of coins out there, right? How many coins are out there currently, roughly speaking?
If I would guess, probably 5,000 at this point. There's
Wow.
at least 1,500 to 2,000 that are listed on the main exchanges. Yeah.
Okay, so STIPEND is a coin. Are you selecting it for proof of stake mining, as you did with Bitcoin Green?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a long process of choosing a coin. If you want, I can kind of get into the details of how we choose them if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to. Maybe it'll be worthwhile just exploring a little bit of what went into your selection of the coins, some insight you might have into maybe why you're excited about this specific coin.
Sure. All right. So essentially, number one, it has to be proof of stake, right, rather than proof of work to work on our platform, what we're mining. So starting with at the base, proof of stake. And then the second thing, the most important thing to me at least, is it has to be a utility coin. And a utility coin means something that's useful, something that somebody's going to be using. I don't want to choose a coin that's just another coin that does the same thing that Bitcoin does or some other coin, because to me it doesn't have any long-term longevity or value. People are just kind of jumping onto it because there's a buzz. I want to choose coins that, number one, are either going to help humanity, they're going to help our planet, or at least it's going to be very useful for people, and therefore people are going to be using it for a purpose. So starting at the base, STIPEND is a very useful utility coin that what it is it's going to be the freelance coin of choice, where if you are outsourcing to a writer, to a graphic artist or developer on the other side of the planet, traditionally it's been very difficult to pay that person. We don't outsource. We haven't outsourced in at least 12 years, maybe 14 years. And I remember the last time we outsourced, it was a little bit after 9/11. And I remember that we had a number of developers in Bangalore, India, and we had one really great guy in Pakistan. Well, the difficulty was actually paying them because, first off, PayPal only works in certain countries. Western Union is really a pain. It's difficult and very expensive. They charge very high fees. Then your bank, you have to deal with wire transfers. You've got to go down to the bank. You got to fill out a form or do it online. It's not easy. And quite frankly, I remember getting called into the office at Bank of America, and they asked me a lot of questions. It was after 9/11. Why are you sending money to the other side of the planet? What is this wire transfer for? And I had problems with IRS. I had problems with the bank. And so it wasn't easy, So now that we have crypto, one of the main things about crypto is the fact that you can send very quick, instantaneous, micropayments across the world instantaneously, effortlessly. So STIPEND is going to take advantage of that. And what it does is it enables you to pay your help on, maybe in another state, maybe in another country, instantaneously, very low fees, and they're going to do it efficiently. Well, it's a little deeper than that. They have, getting back to why we choose coins. So let me kind of tell you why we choose coins, and then I'll come back to STIPEND and its value.
All right, good.
So when we choose a coin, not only obviously does it have to have value and it's a utility and something that's going to be very useful, but they have to have a very good website, a good white paper, a good roadmap, a good team behind them, not only a development team, but a managerial team. They need to be out in the public, in my opinion. I don't want to deal with people that are out in the shadows. I want to see people that are on tour, that are out publicly speaking. These guys go to events. They do weekly updates, and they're out there in the forefront, and they are, publicly out there, hey, this is what we're building, this is what we're doing, and they're very transparent about it, which I like a lot. So a good team with a supporting community is good. They have a supporting community, active development. So that's pretty much where the base starts as far as choosing a coin. You know, is it useful? Do they have a good website, good roadmap, et cetera, et cetera. So then you get into the technicals. Now, the technicals are difficult to get into because for compliance reasons, I can't talk about proof of returns or expectations of profit, et cetera. So just to tell you in general terms, you know, right now it only costs 1 Bitcoin per node, right? So this enables you to buy many nodes per block, which enables us in our model to be able to compound much quicker.
Right.
Because the more nodes you have in a block, as we've talked about before, the faster you're able to compound those numbers. Now, each node with Stipend produces right now almost 100 coins a day, right? And the ROI, return on investment, is roughly almost 700%. Well, 700% means that you will have 7 times as many coins in a year from now than you will today. Which can be a little bit scary in itself, because when you're talking about flooding a market with coins, you know, supply and demand, it diminishes the value of coins out there. So you have to be careful of picking a coin that has too much of an ROI or too many coins coming in the system. But if you catch it early enough at a good ROI, and you catch it at the right time, it's a good opportunity to get in. Let me give you an example. Stipend, right?
Before you go to the sample, so if I understand correctly, very similar to Bitcoin Green. I remember you started on Bitcoin Green at what was the price when you started off mining Bitcoin Green? Was something like $2, or was it less than that? $1?
Well, we never want to talk about fiat. We only convert things and compare things to Bitcoin. So, you know, when Bitcoin Green came out, nobody knew about it, and you know, they basically were flooding or rewarding the initial miners because they wanted to get some excitement out there. So when in the logarithm, you know, on the first 25,000 blocks, the system gets flooded with new coins inexpensively. When they first got listed on the first exchange and people started taking notice, the price spiked up really, really high. And it was, I think at the time, it was 3 or 4 Bitcoin per node, right? And we bought a bunch of them that high, because I knew that the price would go down and eventually stabilize, but we wanted to capture as many coins as possible. So we did buy them actually quite high for ourselves as a company. And what happened is exactly what I expected, because the system getting flooded with new coins. The price of it went down below 1 Bitcoin. So again, it went from higher than 3 Bitcoin down to below 1 Bitcoin, right? Now, that's tough to swallow as an investor. It's not easy to watch something lose, you know, 3/4 of its value. But you have to understand this is long-term play. You're in this for a long haul. You believe in the community, and you want to stick with this community, and you want to stick with this coin. So we watched the price come down to basically lose 75 to 80% of its value. And then what did it do? It halved. I can get into a halving later. But it did exactly what we expected. It found itself, it stabilized, and then it jumped back up. And now it's back up to 2.5 or 3 Bitcoin per node. So this is the same scenario here with Stipend. Is, you know, it already came out and got that huge bump up where it was a couple Bitcoin per node, I believe. And then it came down, and it's already found itself. It's already stabilized. For 30 days now, it's already stabilized at the same value, while it's still producing a tremendous amount of coins, which shows you that it's another really, really good pick. Because think about it, there's a lot of coins coming out, and the price is not coming down. Price is stabilized because people are finding it, people are understanding it, people know it has value, people know there's a good team behind it, it's well engineered. And so, you know, once everybody that's in the community, in the mining community, starts to really, you know, take notice of this, that's when it stabilizes and starts to come back. So.
Okay, excellent. Right.
Yeah. But there's a lot of other reasons why I picked Stipend. Now, one of the other things as well is they're launching a debit coin. Now think about it. If you've hired somebody on the other side of the planet, let's say you're in the United States and you hire somebody in the UK or somebody in Italy to be your writer, that person's going to very easily and efficiently receive stipend from you and use it on their debit card for the local currency. They can use it for euros, they can use it for US dollars, they can use it for a currency of their choice. Mm. So it's going to be very fluid. You know, you hire somebody to do a job for you, and you pay them in stipend, and then they have a debit card to convert it. Now, they're also going to be doing a kind of a job board. You know, some people may be aware of like jobs.com, career.com. Some people are familiar with the outsource websites like, you know, there's Elance and Upwork. So right. There's already a well-established ecosystem out there in our old archaic system with fiat. Mm. So there's well-established platforms for people to freelance across the planet. Now we're merging all this new technology in with crypto, and we're enabling them to go to the next step. So you can hire this person, you can pay them, and you have the ability to flip back into fiat if you need to and come back. There's a couple of, I'm just checking my notes here. You know, I wrote down some notes or other reasons why, you know, just deep diving.
So before we move on to some of the other points, David, so just to understand it correctly, I know the old freelance was now Upwork and, you know, or Odesk or something, but these networks.
Odesk and Guru, yeah, that's another one. Guru is one.
Right. Is Stipend like, is it a platform for freelancers that can be paid through Stipend coin and then converted through their debit card issued by Stipend or by the bank? Or how does that work? So by Stipend,
yeah.
The platform.
Essentially, at the core, obviously, it's a coin, right? But it's much more than the coin because it's a whole team that's going to be building a whole framework to be able to enable you to be able to efficiently manage your resources. So let's say you're a really busy company and you've got, you know, 2 writers, you've got an SEO guy or girl, you've got a designer, you've got a programmer, you've got all these people strategically positioned around the planet doing specific tasks. You can manage them not only with this coin, paying them with the coin, but you can manage them with a framework.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, I remember what you were talking about in the past about paying employees out of Russia and Philippines and Pakistan and India with PayPal and MoneyGram, and it's a mess because no country is exactly the same when it comes to you know, empowering the employees on the ground level, which is you for your level as an employer. Now you have one coin that you can deal with, and you say Stipend will be available in pretty much most countries that freelancers are found, which is especially the third world where there's reduced cost of labor, etc., etc. That's pretty cool. You know, there's so many, there are millions and millions and millions of freelancers on the internet, you know, digital space, which means that Syntropy Cloud Mining, what you're saying is all these transactions that are happening between employees and freelancers using Stipend, Syntropy Cloud Mining from a proof of stake perspective would be mining these transactions, actually helping these transactions to materialize, really, isn't it?
Definitely. And here's the interesting thing. You know, it's interesting that you've known me long enough to remember way back then when we outsourced 12, 15 years ago. And I do kind of the old school, I would call it maybe archaic business model where I actually don't outsource anything at all anymore. I want to keep everything, you know, within my own hive mind, my own group, my own time zone. People primarily, primarily everybody in my organization, you know, many of them live within 10 minutes of here. So, but yet, I'm open to paying in people on our team with stipend if they're open to it. You know, obviously it's their choice. You know, they can choose whatever payment method that they want to receive. But I'm very much open to using it for ourselves because it's efficient. It's way more efficient than dealing with writing a check for somebody or you know, trying to set up a different payment method or a wire or whatever. So I'm open to using it for myself because I think it's going to be very efficient, and I want to support the coins that we're mining and support, you know, the movement. But in general, the average company out there is moving towards the model of people working from home, moving towards the model of people being 1099 and freelance and working in different countries in the world. Because let's face it, you know, with technology that we're using right now, we can have a face-to-face conversation. We don't have to be in the same office together. You know, we can use Telegram, Skype, we can instant message, email, text message, screen share. There's no limitations in how you can work with people across the planet. And now this just really breaks those barriers and creates another bridge to be able to pay people efficiently.
Yeah,
so,
it sounds exciting, and I'm really happy you mentioned Stipend because I'm going to definitely check it out. It's good news.
Let me just give you a little bit more deep dive into the actual technology itself, right? Just let's talk about the coin itself. You know, first off, it does instantaneous payments. You know, you can do micro payments with very, very low fees. It's obviously decentralized, excuse me, which is, of course, the core of, you know, what we're doing here with cryptocurrency. And it's based on nodes, which create a very, very good stable base for the coin, because when you're staking, again, you're loyal to the coin. You're not just doing proof of work mining where you have no loyalty and you can jump ship. You're actually, you know, saying, I believe in this community. I'm gonna buy coins. I'm gonna stake you. I'm gonna become a user and a miner at the same time. And quite frankly, the code base is phenomenal. You know, you have a desktop wallet. You've got mobile wallets. I've looked at the code base. The code base is very solid. It's very stable, well established. They did a great job in engineering. You know, again, we download code, we install it, we build nodes on it, we use it ourselves before we ever go public. I can't tell you how many other coins that we've, you know, tried and tested, spent a lot of money on it, a lot of time building machines just to put it on a network, and then they're fickle. You know, they go offline every day or a couple hours. You know, we can't afford to haphazardly choose a coin, go through all the engineering, put it on the network, build it, and, you know, have our clients, you know, mine on behalf of our clients, and then spend all day trying to reboot servers all day long. So, again, well thought out, starts with the community, the team, the coin, utility, ROI, technicals, fundamentals. Everything is there for this coin, so I'm really, really excited about it, and I think we can catch it at the right time.
That sounds excellent. So tell me now, so what about, when is Syntropy Cloud Mining going to build the first node on Stipend? Was this something you're rolling out in the future? Have you already done it? You're planning?
No, we've already took a deep dive, already, you know, evaluated the code, and so yeah, we're good. We're ready to go.
Okay.
Right away.
Have you got a date for when you're going to launch that?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. All right.
I announced it yesterday for the first time publicly to our team, you know, our affiliate Salesforce, et cetera. So this is the first time actually doing an official video that it's going to go out to explain it to the you know, customer base and the public, to be able to, you know, tell people exactly the reasons why we chose it and why we believe in it and why we're going to be mining it and supporting it.
Okay, so you're ready to roll on Stipend as it is.
So yeah, the next block for sure will be Stipend, unless you specifically choose. You say, no, I don't want to do Stipend. I want to continue with Bitcoin Green, and there's probably going to be a lot of people that stay in Bitcoin Green. I know that I absolutely love it, and I still think it's way undervalued. And, you know, if you look at the prediction models, it's like just a speck in the water of what it's going to be. So I'm still all in on green, and I'm still, you know, full force, all cylinders behind mining, and just not only on a personal level, but professional level, as a company, as an individual. So, you know, if people want to stay in green, when people continue the green, I'm all for it. Really, this comes from, you know, offering diversification. You know, not everybody wants to be full force behind one coin. For me, I mean, someone said the other day, oh, I want to be as many coins as possible because I want to be diversified. Well, if 80% of altcoins, you know, really don't go anywhere, do you want 80% of your portfolio going down? No. Personally, me, I'd rather have one phenomenal coin backed by a phenomenal community, you know, that goes 2x, 10x, 20x, whatever, than have a whole bunch of stuff I have to manage that is fickle and goes all over the place and you have no idea. So, you know, we're very serious about choosing things right, very specific in what we do, and use it for a very reason, and then we hammer it home.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Excellent. Well, that's good news, David, and that's, thanks for sharing that with me.
Sure. Thanks a lot.
I'm keen on checking it out, and good luck to your user base. Who are going to be very excited about this new introduction that you made yesterday. And on the last note, I just saw a memo yesterday. There's only about 4 million Bitcoins left to mine. What does that mean?
Okay. I talked a little bit about halving a little earlier in this conversation, and let me get into the fundamentals of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin itself and Bitcoin Green have a max supply of 21 million coins. Okay, so think about that compared to our old fiat model. Our old fiat model, we had, you know, a bunch of guys in dark suits sitting in a dark room somewhere, haphazardly printing money out of thin air, right? And we really truly have no idea how much or why, right? But when you flood the market with new money, right, you diminish the value of existing money out there, and you devalue people's savings. People work their whole lives to save money, and you throw money out there, it just diminishes that. And so it keeps the worker bees working. Now, Bitcoin has a complete opposite philosophy. It comes more from a libertarian standpoint as far as the Austrian economics model, where you have a fixed finite supply of 21 million. That's never going to change. So you're right. I think it's 16 million or 17 million of the 21 million that is already out there in existence. Now, that last 4 million coins will be mined between now and the year 2140, right? So in the next 121 and a half, 122 years, call it 122 years, there's only going to be 4 million coins coming into the system. And it's going to be harder and harder and harder to mine coins. It's going to be harder and harder and harder for new coins to come in. And eventually, it'll be slower and slower and slower and slower, which is a really good thing because it creates scarcity. You know, everybody who currently owns a Bitcoin will become more and more rare. So I use the analogy of, you know, you look at the U.S. dollar, right? And the last time I checked, we were over $20 trillion in debt, right? And if you're interested, you can go to Google Images and you can look at, you know, U.S. debt, $100 bills and pallets or whatever versus the Statue of Liberty or versus the, I think it's the, you know, the towers in New York. And you will see, you know, that if you took stacks of $100 bills and you put it on a pallet, right, and you stacked pallets all the way to the sky, it would be as big or bigger than the World Trade Center, right? That was $20 trillion in debt a number of years ago. I have no idea where it is now. Sorry. So if you look at that massive debt that's continuing to grow, right, that's why the value of fiat has always come down and always will come down. Look at the value of fiat since 1913. It's worth about 4 cents of what a dollar used to be worth, or the purchasing power of a dollar back in 1913.
Right, that's it.
So yeah, that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. It's limited, finite supply. And I always say cryptocurrency is engineered to gain value. Take that $20 trillion in debt and stuff that into 21 million coins. That's just less. Now take the entire debt of the UK and Europe, you know, take the debt of the entire planet. Try to stuff that into a finite supply of 21 million. That's why McAfee, the guy who invented the antivirus software, he predicts Bitcoin. There's a lot of people predicted it 50,000 this year. I don't like to give predictions. You know, I said yesterday in my talk, I'm much more of a long-term person. I will do everything I can to find something I truly believe in that's going to help humanity. It's going to help our planet. That's going to have a cause or a purpose. And then I just know for sure that if it's a useful coin, people are going to be using it. It's going to gain value over time. And I just want to align myself with the right projects, the right people, the right force. Right. Because we're going to be very, 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 very positive force on this planet. We're bringing light into this planet. And this is what crypto is going to be doing for us. It's going to be finding solutions for all of the issues and all the ills that we have been endured in a centralized system up to date. It's going to come in, and each one of these projects has a purpose. I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to solve this problem. And the way things are engineered to gain value, it's a shift from the old model where things were engineered to lose value.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, no, it does. And things depreciate over time. And yeah, that's pretty interesting. And I think it's still very new days for the world, really, in evaluating blockchain and crypto. There's a lot of cowboys out there. A lot of things are happening, and you're one of them. Not the cowboys, but at least identifying value below the surface of what's happening. Because I mean, it's a volatile market, but I do see crypto as is definitely rising in awareness amongst the digital community and business. So looking forward to hearing more about what you have in line and in the coming weeks. So
I don't mind being called a digital cowboy.
Where's your hat? All right.
Digital pioneer is good too, but yeah, I mean, we are definitely pushing the envelope in technology and really standing behind these technologies. Emergent technologies are coming out, and let's just look at a very simplistic level. Every single thing that these projects are doing is very open. It's very transparent, right? And they are solving problems. And the way their communities are set up, the decentralized communities are set up, is a decentralized governance where it will weed out all the bad actors. And, if you're not fulfilling the purpose, you're not fulfilling your roadmap that you've set out, your community will keep you in check. It's a vastly different model that we've had, where we have this centralized system for the entire history of humanity, dictating mandates on the populace that isn't in sync with the populace, the people's will. So this is what we're doing, is we're flipping that. And, yeah.
Well, it sounds like what you're mentioning specifically, which is the two very good qualities, is integrity in the system and accountability.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And, people talk about compliance, and absolutely compliance is extraordinarily important. And today, we have to comply upon every rule and every mandate and everything that's out there. But in the future, when everything flips, and we the people have a very decentralized system that's fair and honest, open and transparent, our governments will be asking us, are we compliant? And we will control the wealth, and the systems will all be, controlled from a decentralized level. So what's going to transpire from a hierarchy or from our governmental organizations is that they will have to comply with the will of the people. But the will of the people, in my opinion, will be a lot better than it was in our old archaic system, because all these checks and balances that you have for transparency, we'll keep things honest and ethical and transparent, and you know, I can get into some deep things on the supply chain and all the things that crypto's going to do, and that's probably better for another talk. But I just can't tell you, you know, I get up every morning really energized about this because I'm excited where we're going.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds brilliant, and yeah, we definitely can talk about that in the future. Definitely, you know, on the supply chain side of things. But just want to say thank you for the announcement you made today as well. I know it's a day old, but here we are talking about it, and it sounds like exciting news. STIPEND sounds like a brilliant coin to support, and look forward to catching up with you next week on that and hearing how things are going.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.